Hello, hello, Amplify You family. Michelle Abraham, your host here today. And have I got an amazing Ask the Expert interview for you today? I have Ani Papazyan, a pain resolution specialist with almost 3 decades of experience. She's dedicated to empowering individuals to take control of their health and live pain-free. And what Ani and I were talking about would be most valuable for our entrepreneurs who are listening today is how we really get bogged down with stress, and how stress can also be a good thing, could also be a bad thing, and how stress plays a really big role in entrepreneurship. So Ani, I was the one to toss it over to you to say hi first. How are you doing today?
Hey, Michelle, I am fantastic. Thanks for having me.
You are so welcome. Well, let me tell you a little bit more about Ani, guys. She's got a bachelor degree in kinesiology and certifications in medical massage therapy, functional nutrition, and advanced translational nutritionist, which is super fascinating. Ani founded Last Stop for Pain. She focused on pain resolution, self-help techniques, education, and personalized lifestyle. Inspired by specialized training in advanced pain relief techniques, Ani developed the precision pain method, resolution method. Her goal is to help people live pain-free lives and achieve their health goals, regardless of the challenges they face. And his extensive experience and commitment to her craft has established her as a sought-after expert in pain relief. So, Ani, I want to start off with the pain relief part first, because I know it's not, we were going to dive into the stress part, but I think the pain part really fascinates me, because I know so many people living in pain, like so many, as I'm sure you do too. What's the deal with pain? Like, why so many people are just succumb to the fact that it's normal to live in pain, which I think is crazy.
That's what got me into this industry. Mm-hmm. The frustration that so many people, the doctor says, oh, you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s. That's normal for your age. Or people, if their pain is, let's say, 8, 10, they bring it down to 2, 3. They're like, oh, I can live with this. It's like, no.
Why are they not aiming for 0?
Because it requires work sometimes. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it requires work. And us, your podcast is mostly addressing entrepreneurs, business owners. We are busy people.
Yeah.
Like my first Zoom session today was at 6:20 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
and you're my last one today. So I think after you, I'm going to shut off my computer.
Yeah.
But it's, people are busy. So a lot of times they're looking for fast solutions. Mm-hmm. And they're thinking, okay, what I can do with less involvement. That's why a lot of times they go for just give me a pill. It's easier. Mm-hmm. Instead of how should I change my lifestyle, my dietary choices, my exercise, those habits, maybe meditation, and shoot for 0 pain. And that's one of the reasons, a lot of times, first of all, I see patients only when you're in pain. If you don't have pain, I don't take you as a client. Mm-hmm. But my goal is, yes, your goal to see me is for me to get you out of pain, right? Mm-hmm. My goal is not that. My goal is, what is your pain preventing you from doing? Mm-hmm. If your goal is, I don't know, I'm going to Europe and I want to be able to walk 5-10 miles a day without any pain and enjoy it. Or this morning I spoke with a gentleman, he's going to climb Kilimanjaro.
Oh, cool.
I want to do that. Or I want to be able to pick up my grandchild without holding my back, or throw a ball to my kid.
Right.
So when you have that goal, your motivation will never go away until you reach that goal. Instead of your pain is 10, I bring it down to 2, and then I would never see you again.
Right. Yeah, different kind of goal. So do you have a personal story that led you into the pain field that's that was really pivotal for you?
My personal story is my frustration. The college I finished was, my bachelor's is in kinesiology, but I also was a professional athlete. I played volleyball for Armenian national team back home. Oh. So I know what it takes to be in pain. Like I've had twisted my ankles, both of them several times, but you have to work through the pain and the training, especially if we were getting ready for Soviet Union championships. They would take us 2 hours resort that we were stay there and train like 3-4 times a day.
Oh, wow.
So I know pain. So when I decided to get into a medical massage and specialize in pain relief, it was like pure passion to helping people, and also a frustration why people, like you said, succumb, is that the proper word, to live with pain. Yeah. And that pisses me off, like literally pisses me off when someone like agrees to live with pain.
Right. I remember like, I've had family members that had pain, and then they would take the painkillers, and then the painkillers would cause an ulcer, and then the ulcer would cause something. Like, it was just this like spiral. It's like, oh my gosh, like the pain, fix the pain.
Yeah, it turns into a vicious cycle. And also, like, sometimes when I go to networking events, and sometimes I would ask questions, and most of the time, between 30 to 50% of people, if they speak up, they're in chronic pain.
Wow. That's not acceptable, is it?
Crazy.
No. Do you find that entrepreneurship, there, like, especially like I would imagine, like, because we're sitting in a desk, usually in a computer, usually not ergonomically correct. People over time will develop those like hunched shoulders, which could cause pain, or lower back issues from sitting in a chair all the time. Do you find that entrepreneurs that you work with also have a lot of pain just from the lifestyle of sitting? I went from becoming a fitness professional to a entrepreneur sitting in a chair all the time, which was not good.
Constantly. And, sometimes they say, oh, that's just my body. I'm like that. It's normal. That's normal for me. I'm thinking, that's so sad that that's your new norm. That's normal for you. So yeah, regularly.
Oh my gosh. So let's talk about stress for a minute. Stress is something that I see is becoming a major problem. Major problem. And it's not something that's new, but I think our lifestyles and our busyness has really contributed to that. So how best can we manage our stress these days?
Well, one of the first things is, how do we see stress? Do we see it as a positive thing or as a negative thing? It's all about, first of all, it's all about reframe, right? If I see stress as it's a part of a growth, it's part of me becoming better. It's part of me. I'm sure you've heard of Jim Rohn. One of the things I love what Jim Rohn talks about, he goes, don't wish for things to be easy. Wish for you to have the skills to deal with those stressful situations.
That's so good. Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, oh my God, this is so difficult. It's like, no, you know what? I got to get better. So whatever was difficult, it's like, riding a bicycle with like a tricycle and then taking those extra wheels away. It's the same thing.
Yeah, same sort of thing. We can go it on our own.
Exactly. So it's, first of all, it's how do we view stress? And then the second thing is, yes, how do we approach it? Because with stress, yes, a lot of time, it's our heart rate goes faster, our breathing changes, and then we start getting this tightness on our neck because our neck locks up. You've seen sometimes it's like a cartoons when animals stress, their eyes pop out of the socket, right? That's what happens. Our vision becomes like our eyes just focus on the subject, whatever, and everything tightens up. So in my practice, when I'm working with, because sometimes I have very high profile businessmen, or I'm in Los Angeles, so I get fortunate enough to meet a lot of industry people, like movie and music industry people, work with them that they're extremely busy people.
Yeah.
And one of the things is I like to teach them self-help techniques. So when they feel that stress coming on, they can use it to calm their body down so they don't get to a place where everything locks up. Like let's say the neck locks up. And I'm sure you have spoken with a lot of like practitioners or people in meditation industry, in the yoga industry, in mindfulness. It's all about, the breathing, the taking, you take inhalation, but then when you exhale, your exhalation is longer than your inhalation. that calms down your nervous system. So that's one of like the simplest thing to do. For me as a pain specialist is, okay, how can I take away your neck locking up? Well, the muscles tightening up here is as soon as you feel you're in a stressful situation or feel the stress coming up, right away, turn your head to the side of your dominant hand. So let's say if you're a right-handed person, you turn your head to your right.
Okay.
Just take a couple of breaths. What that does, that blocks cuts that pattern of neck locking up.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So you just turn your head and take a couple of deep breaths. I have a client, when I taught her that technique, she said every time, because also whenever you're in stress, you clench your jaw, you grind your teeth, right? So my thing is the added bonus of the technique is once you turn your head and
You
then,
can't do that.
huh?
So once you turn your head, you can't clench your teeth as good.
Well, no, actually, as you turn your head, you put your thumb behind your jawbone. You feel that softer part there.
Yeah.
And as you push that gently, you push tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth. You'll feel under your fingers, it becomes hard, like rubbery, right? When you do that. So when you turn your head, you press your tongue to the roof of your mouth and wait there for about 30 seconds. Not only your jaw won't tighten, your neck won't tighten also.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And one of my clients, since I taught her this technique, she says her jaw doesn't get tight anymore.
Oh.
As soon as she feels it, she does that technique and it's done.
Yeah. Where were you 5 years ago? My jaw, like after I had my first baby, I was like, my jaw got so locked. It's like I couldn't open it very far for like weeks. It was so weird.
It's funny. I have several of them because I do a lot of TMJ, intraoral release. When I put a glove on, go inside the mouth, release the tongue, all the muscles connected to it. So I have some dentists who refer me patients. Yeah. And this dentist referred me this one patient after they did some work on her jaw locked up. She couldn't. Wow. So he sent her to me. And her whole goal was, I want to be able to open my mouth and bite into a hamburger. So after I worked on her 2 sessions, she texts me, Operation Hamburger was a success.
Yay. I know the frustration of that. I can't even open up wide enough to get a sandwich in there.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Very, very cool. So do you have any other tips for us as entrepreneurs to prevent that stress coming on?
Well, yes. So one of the biggest things I'm sure entrepreneurs hear again, the vagus nerve, stimulate your vagus nerve, which relaxes your heart, heart beating, relaxes your digestive system because it's one of your 10 cranial nerve. And it starts in your brain and goes all the way down, innervates, passes your heart and innervates into your gut, in your diaphragm and your gut. That's why when you're a lot of stress, your digestion gets all messed up. Some people overeat and some like, oh, I can't eat, I'm too stressed.
Right.
So there are so many different techniques to stimulate the vagus nerve because it's a very calming, relaxing. So there's few really simple techniques. Just by out loud singing, it stimulates your vagus nerve.
Really? That's fascinating.
Humming, when you hum, that stimulates your vagus nerve. Sometimes when I'm working at the office with the client, I don't even tell them what I'm doing because when they're laying on my table, I go palpate their body to see where it's tight. Sometimes they go, oh no, I'm ticklish, or they have this withdrawal reflex. I go to palpate around their diaphragm, like the ribcage, and I'm like, oh, awesome. And like, do this technique, and sometimes I'm like, I'm not even going to touch you. I'm going to walk you through a technique. You're going to do it. Yeah. And then I'm going to try to palpate again, and you'll see. So the technique, what it is, it not only relaxes your sympathetic, your fight or flight, but it also relaxes your diaphragm. It's a really simple technique. You can do it standing up, sitting down, laying down, All you do is you turn your head. We're going to start with the right side. Okay. You turn your head to your right. Mm-hmm. Left arm reaches down towards the floor. And you're going to do about 4 or 5 deep belly coughing, like, okay. And then you turn your head the opposite direction. Mm-hmm. So let's say you turn to the left, your right arm reaches down towards the floor, and you go cough, cough, cough. That's it. So when I do that, and then I'll go back and palpate, you should see their face. They're like, are you touching the same spot, or are you putting the same pressure? Because not only they're not ticklish anymore, but they're not withdrawing anymore.
Oh my goodness, that's so fascinating.
Yeah. So it works every single time.
Oh, that's so cool.
So yeah, that's another easy, simple technique to do.
And does that stimulates the vagus nerve too, or no? That's just another technique. Yep. Yeah. And then is it the tapping of the vagus nerve that's the one that activates it really well?
You can do that too. You can do that. The vagus nerve, the most superficial spot for your vagus nerve is almost like behind your ear. Mm. Yeah, that's the most superficial area. But just the act of just swallowing, like collecting some saliva in your mouth, swallowing, that act would stimulate your vagus nerve.
Interesting.
Yeah. I have a home TENS unit where I connect to my ears and I put in 8 hertz. Mm-hmm. That stimulates the vagus nerve.
Interesting. I was just noticing, even just after doing it a couple of times there, and the other exercise you did had a bit of like afternoon brain fog, and it feels like it's like gone. Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, it works amazing.
So now I'm going to hijack the conversation for a personal question. And so about 15 years ago, I was standing on an ice skating rink at a ski resort, and somebody jumped on me like they were going to pretend to jump on me, and I turned like this, and he jumped on me and landed in the snow, and it bulged 2 discs in my lower back. And so I've done a lot of work to try to correct it. But what I find when I'm sitting in a chair for a long time, those lower discs still bug me a lot. Is there anything that you would suggest that I do as something that can kind of release the pain there?
So a couple of things. Yeah. First of all, have you had an MRI done? Is there any disc herniation, disc compression, bulging disc, or
there was bulging?
How many millimeter?
There was a couple of bulged discs, and then now it's fine. They're not bulging.
So it could be from the trauma, could be that muscles over there are tight because of the protection, and your quadratus lumborum is one of the muscles that I see tight in almost most people. Yeah, I see it. So a couple of things you can do is, if you have an exercise ball at home, the big exercise ball, then you can lay face down and roll back and forth gently, because you'll feel that gentle traction. Mm-hmm. So that would be really good. Mm-hmm. There is, again, depending, there is a foam roller, not the regular foam rollers, because I'm not a big fan of regular foam roller because it compresses your spine. Yeah. I know people I like it because it cracks my spine. I don't like it. There is a special foam roller where it has indentation. Mm-hmm. So your spine goes inside that indentation. Mm-hmm. So when you're laying on it, both sides of your spine, all your muscles, erectors of spiny, then the foam roller goes into those connective tissue. And when you roll, it feels amazing. Just laying on it and gently. It's like the best self-massage you can do.
That's cool. I can check those ones out. I've only ever seen the ones that are like the one dimension.
No, I think I can email you the link to it. Wow. It's amazing. Yeah, they're awesome.
That's great. Yeah, I remember that exercise at the exercise ball in the fitness, I used to work in the fitness industry, and we used to raise the alternating legs and arms up while you're over the ball like that. It was such a good stretch, but also such a good lower back.
It balances your opposite muscles. It's great for your core because what's strengthening your core. A lot of times people oh, I'm going to strengthen my core, and they do crunches.
Yeah.
Well, that, again, I'm not a huge favor of that because it puts so much pressure on your lower back and your neck if you're not doing it properly.
Right. Yeah. So those quick crunches at the gym aren't necessarily the best.
I say if you want to work on your core muscles, plank is one of the best. Side planks, elbow planks, and balancing balls, like on Bosu, when the full side is down, flight side is up. Yeah. I stand on it with one leg and I do side kicks.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Working those, that strengthens your core.
Yeah, absolutely. I know there's so many better exercises than crunches.
And it's not fun either.
Right? I love that. Well, thank you. Those are really helpful. Oh my gosh, so many great techniques and so many great things. What is your hope in the world, Ani, that you can help people overcome their pain? And what's your big goal? What's your big Harry goal?
I know. I love this question because I have so much passion to teach people or educate them, give them resources, enough information for them to get excited about, I need to do something about my pain, that living with pain is not an option. If I can bring that across to people and teach you a few self-help techniques or show you what are some of the stuff available out there, because most of the time people try, what's one of my favorites, people say, oh, I've tried everything. And I'm looking at the client, I'm like, you've never seen me, so you've never tried what I do.
Yeah.
Like, people try a couple of things. And I understand sometimes it's frustrating because by the time some clients end up in my office, they've already been to doctors, they've gotten some injections, they've been to different practitioners, and they're still in pain. And it's frustrating because they're thinking, oh, I was referred to her. She's just going to be one of the others. And I'm not saying I can help everyone because that's just a stupid thing to say. I can't help everyone. But at least I can say, okay, you know what? I'm not the right person for you, but this person that I can refer you to or try someone else that does this, I think that would be best fit for you.
How much of the pain stuff do you think is mindset?
Some of it is definitely mindset. And saying that sometimes, not often, but sometimes I do come across people that they don't want to get better because that's a crutch for them. That's I don't have to go to work or I don't have to have the responsibilities. So when you feel that, you just kind of, it's not my place. I'm not a therapist. I can't do, that stuff. But yeah, unfortunately, that happens.
I would imagine the way you work with people, though, because you're giving them tools, they can start to see the hope. They can see that it's possible to get out of pain. I'm sure that alone helps a lot with the mindset.
It's a huge motivator. It's like sometimes when I see clients that, just the other day, again, this dentist sent me a client and she literally cried on my table. And, of course, I'm not going to show it, but in my head, I'm thinking, what did I do? But no, it was like, oh my God, I've been in pain. As soon as she got engaged, she started getting all this pain. And then she's planning a wedding, but she's in constant pain. So she's not enjoying that process.
Right.
So, and I followed up with her 2 days later. She's like, my pain is almost 100% gone. And I've seen her only like once. Like, imagine her, she thought she was going to live with that pain.
Yeah. Wow. That's so good.
So yeah, I mean, that's why I was like, sometimes I get more excited than they do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's awesome. So Ani, where can we find out more information about working with you and getting in touch with you?
So the best place would be my website. It's Last Stop for Pain, which is, which here 4 is a numeric 4. Here I'll put the Last Stop for Pain.com. I have some free resources, but people can download, but they can also, if they have any questions, they can book a complimentary 30-minute session with me, Zoom session with me. to answer their questions. And if there is anywhere I can help them in any way, that'd be awesome.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being on today. And thanks for answering my personal questions as well as the ones that relate to our entrepreneurs out there. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Ani. Take care. And I guess make sure you check out Ani's website, Last Stop 4, which is the number 4pain.com. And that's where you'll find out more information about Ani and how to work with her. And until next time, guys, go out there, have a fabulous week, and amplify your family. I'll see you again next week.